an option. All right, so we're recording. Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in this planet. It will be a different timeline. And we welcome you to the channel again. And we'll be talking about the coal with a special guest tonight, Mary Abraham, who lives here in the Okanagan. Hi, how are you, Mary? How are you doing?
Miriam, good. Nice to be here again. An honor to be here. Thank you. Yes, I do normally live in Costin, unceded territory of the Silk Nation. So it's an honor to be on this land in this beautiful place and be doing this work alongside people such as yourself.
Yeah, like yeah, the rainbow tribe is being called all over the world. Everywhere, like and we're meeting more and more people alike, and it's like, okay, yes, I'm here for this now, this work now. We've been waiting for a long time. So it finally arrived, the shift finally arrived, but it doesn't happen in one day, right?
No.
So, Mari, just talk a little bit about yourself for the ones who haven't heard you before, and tell us something about you.
Okay, so my name is Mari Abraham, and I've been on a spiritual journey for well over 15 years, or about 15, 17 years of my life. And in this journey, I've come across many different teachings, the deepest of which I immersed myself in the Zulu tradition of the Sangoma. I lived with my teachers in South Africa for a year and was able to whatever I learned there, bring it back to Canada and translate that information into, a North American understanding, finding ways to bridge all the different spiritual viewpoints into something that makes sense and something that's accessible for everybody. And a lot of that work in my Sangoma practice, which has evolved over the time for me now, I don't know what to tell you, but my main job at this point in time is to learn how to listen still, and for me that requires a deep sense of calm and silence inside myself, which is something we cultivate, which is something we grow inside, learning how to listen.
And you're talking about listening to you yourself, inside yourself. Okay, yeah.
I'm talking, yeah, listening in here first, how we listen to our own spirit, and we listen to our own wisdom, but also learning how to listen to things around me, how to listen to things that don't have a voice. So our ancestors, spirit guides, people who have crossed over, ascended beings, angels, crystal people, otherworldly beings. You learn how to listen, and by that I mean it's like there's a certain frequency that each being comes with, or in an energy comes with, and to be able to hear it, you have to be able to listen. And so for me, it's almost like imagining I'm a type of radio tower. My spine is like a radio tower. My own energy field is a radio tower that I've learned. The deeper I go into the earth, the higher I can connect to different channels, to different information, different frequencies. And so it's like, as I learn how to listen, I also learn how to communicate. Listening is a big part of communicating. And so bringing information I'm hearing, like that little, whoa, and then translating what I'm hearing to as a message, or as something that someone comes to me and says, hey, I need help with this. And then I just tune in. We call it tuning in for a reason, because it is like a dial. You keep turning, fine tuning, fine tuning, fine tuning, fine tuning all your little energy apparatus until you connect into the frequency that's communicating. And then you can share that message, you can share that frequency with others who are seeking information. But personally, for myself, constantly learning, and growing in my own practice, and trusting my own soul, uh, to be revealed to me more and more and more as I go on this journey, and trusting the messages that I'm receiving from the universe, and the earth and the environment around me, which requires the ability to listen. So that's one of my main
And
keys.
is that what you're calling listen to the call?
Oh yeah, listening, listen to the call, answer the
Mhm.
call.
Answer
So
the call.
answer the call. What I'm noticing in our mass field, mass human field, our energy field, is there's this awakening that's happening, and for some of us, we're subconscious, we aren't picking it up, we don't know that we're awakening, we don't know that that's happening. But there's a number of people, and I'm witnessing it even in my own work, more and more people having bigger awarenesses beyond themselves, beyond their families, larger awareness of something else that's happening. Something is waking up. Something's waking up in the earth. There's ancient wisdom waking up, coming out of the earth, and there's information coming from the stars. And it's just like people are waking up, waking up. And when I say answer the call, it's because now there's all of this information that's available to us, that's inspiring growth, it's inspiring the awakening. And we're each different. We're going to come to it in a different way. We're going to show up in a different way. We're going to access that information in a different way, and learning how to honor and respect that, but continue. So what does that mean, answer the call? Well, I answered the call 15 years ago when a Zulu shaman said, you have a calling, you must come train. And I didn't know what that meant. But a calling is when the universe conspires to get you to wake up and say, you have a gift, please use it.
Mhm.
And somewhere inside of us, we all have a calling. We each have a calling. We each have a gift that is a part of our soul essence, a part of our soul seed, if you will.
When you said listen to the call, no, they said please, you have a gift, please use it.
Yeah.
It came to my mind something that I always think about, how the universe works, that everything is got a purpose, and everything is always in movement, so the energy is always moving, and if it's not serving its purpose, the universe will push it to transform into something else, to be useful, because nothing can just stay unuseful. So if I just thought when you said that if people don't use their gifts, they'll be pushed into transforming in their energy into something else, right?
Yes. So to be mindful of that, and to acknowledge what are our gifts, and how do we know? How do we come to know what our gift is? How do we come to know and understand it? And how do we carry it? How do we act it out? And that for me also comes through the act of listening, the ability to go in and to find that soul spark inside, and ask to see what's in there. Who am I? That ultimate question, who am I? Or
Mhm.
what am I, is another question to ask. And the awakening I'm seeing in people is this calling that's coming out of people's soul. So I see the soul light is a soul light that the beings have. And it's getting brighter, and there's information stored in that light, in the soul light, that is sometimes still dormant in us, right? There's aspects of it that may be dormant, but they're starting to wake up. And there's all this ancient information that's coming with it. There's all like symbols and words and feelings and expressions. There's starting to open inside of that seed, and our soul light is opening to us. And so if we sit and we listen, or maybe you're a mover and you listen through moving, and sounding and toning or drawing or art or whatever it is, how do we get in there and access the gift our soul is carrying. And for many of us, our ancestors have that light, have had to hide it, have had to put it away, have had to keep
Mhm.
it somewhere safe for centuries and generations. Oh, it's not safe to come out yet. It's not safe to come out. If it comes out now, it will be misrepresented or that person will be killed. And we're at a time now where those energies are safer to come out. It's still volatile in other places in the world to give yourself permission to say, hey, I listen. I listen and I answer the call.
Yeah, I think some people have been hiding it, knowing that it wasn't safe, and some people were not actually aware of it, right?
Mhm.
So there's the two different kinds of waking up. Actually, I think for us who knew about it and were keeping it to ourselves for a long time because it wasn't safe, we were I lost the link, but it was it's not the same thing. I think that for some people that like us, that we knew this before and we just kept it, we kept working it, but quiet. And the other people who haven't been aware of it, they are the ones waking up to that light, and we're here able to guide, to facilitate, to talk about our experience, I guess. Because we're also awakening, but to other things,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
other things. Yeah.
it's growing. And I felt, I felt that I was to some degree awakened 10 years ago. And even now, in the last few months, my soul light is showing me things that I didn't even imagine that I would be witnessing 10 years ago, or even have the capacity to hold space for that in my own energy field. And it's so amazing to all of a sudden receive information about ancient memories or frequencies, and maybe ancient's the wrong word, like universal codes of energy that are beginning to show up now and kind of breaking through, because I've consciously been working on this. And I look at it and I say, am I ready for that? I mean, that the information that's being delivered, the technologies that are being delivered from the star nations and from the helper beings, these are really potent technologies, meditations, tools, keys, mantras, symbols, sounds that are really active and really activating. And I just feel so humbled constantly in the last several months of the universe saying, you have this capacity here, here, add this, add this tool, add this information. But I can't just add it like you would read a book and say the same thing. You actually have to
Oh,
embody it. You have to, it has to awaken in you, and then you have to learn how to use it in a safe way and then share. And so this is, I'm also in a process of awakening, even like within me. And it's a powerful movement. It's a powerful time. And that is
yeah.
different. The people who have been asleep and are just waking up, some of them are waking up to even like more capacity than what I'm witnessing in myself. It's just all of a sudden they have
I
access.
think so many people are awakening to ask the questions, right? Who am I? What am I doing here? Because there have been so many distractions, and the distractions have been taken away from people because of all this drama that is being played out. And but if in the positive side of things, is allowing people to actually look at themselves more. So then it's like, okay, what am I doing with my time now that I don't have my games, I don't have my uh, shows to watch, everything stopped to being produced. So now, okay, you're forced to ask, who are you? What are you doing here? Really, really, right? And that's the awakening of the biggest part of people on the planet, I think.
Mhm, mhm. And another piece that is coming with the awakening that is um, a lot of the work that I support is just this, at this point, emotional intelligence, recalibrating emotional intelligence in our brains so that we can look at what we need to look at and be accountable for the things we need to be accountable and deal with it in a way that doesn't create dissonance in our environment and in our relationships. And that requires a great deal of emotional maturity or emotional intelligence to navigate relationships right now and all of the change that's happening in
Mhm.
dating. And that's
Yeah, I had to cut lots of relationships, but not because I want to cut relationships, but I needed to express certain things from the awakening side that some people were just not willing to listen and willing to fight against, to create dramas about it. And I had to cut these relationships. I don't know until when, but it's just I'm opening now just to the people who don't want to. Well, they might not see it, but don't come from a fight perspective, because I don't want to put my energy into fighting anybody for ideas.
Yeah, exactly. And that takes emotional intelligence, right? Like, how are we communicating? Are we in a reactive place, or are we responding from our place of balance, a place of wholeness? And a lot of people, we still, as a whole, humanity, a lot of healing to do, a lot of energy to restore and balance on the earth, and generations of people in different countries, and even this one, who know only war, who know only volatile relation. And so it's, I mean, we've just begun. We're just beginning this process. So
That's something that I don't think some people realize. This is just the beginning. Things are not going to be solved from one day to another, because the proportion of fractal time for us, like for the galaxy, one day might reflect in years for us. I don't know exactly what the proportion is, but it's not the same. So we are actually a small part of that. It's a fractal of the same pattern happening in a bigger spectrum, but we are experiencing it another time, and it's longer. It's not going to be in one day.
it's gonna be in one day, yeah, or even 2 days.
No, no,
Oh,
or months. No.
yeah. We also, have to open to our own alchemy, and we have to open to our own healing inside of ourselves. I mean, in my whole practice, if I can't do it for myself, I'm not going to offer it to anybody else. So it's important for me to really keep looking at my own healing, keep looking at my own levels of communication and honesty and integrity, and how am I listening, and am I honoring my own calling? Because I still get called. I still get called. Just because I had a calling 15 years ago doesn't mean I'm done. I'm not done. Just because I trained 15 years ago and then I completed my training doesn't mean I'm done. It means that I'm just starting again. Like, there's so many just beginnings, just beginning. And every day I find that I'm learning something new every day. Every time I meet somebody and their ancestors and hear their story or tune in, it's a whole nother universe. It's a whole nother story. It's a whole nother experience that I have to learn the language of that person's story. And sometimes it's not people, sometimes it's a spirit or a plant or an animal, and you have to learn how to listen, and then you have to learn the language so you can communicate, with each other, and in a safe way. And so it's a lot of work I do. Like it's a lot of mental work also to keep telling myself it's okay to learn and it's okay to understand this language and it's okay. Even the suffering and the pain and suffering on the planet, it's a language. And when we run into it, we have to understand it, which means for me, that's what it means for me. I have to understand it, which means I have to learn the language of it. And
That's interesting.
sometimes it's a really painful experience because you're just like, I didn't have that story. I didn't know that that story even existed in the universe until I had enough capacity to hear it. And the universe says, here's a story that you're ready to hear. And it can blow us apart. It feels like it blows us apart sometimes. The whole reality can be shattered by hearing an intensive story of pain and suffering that is happening on our planet. And all of a sudden we can choose to live in denial and pretend that that's not our problem. But for me, it impacts my relationship to everything. And often after stories of trauma or suffering, I have to go out on the land and I have to talk to the ancestors in the universe and say, seriously, this is happening and I have to be here for this and why. And, I have my emotional needs that are human that I have to like question and like, what is the point and why is that necessary? And tell me about purification and how do we heal this? How can we support a collective healing and collective growth when there's still so much pain being unearthed or being shown? And I do feel like this light that is here is illuminating not just the luminous aspects of humanity, but it's also exposing the darker pieces too that we haven't looked at as a collective, that we've turned a blind eye to over the years so that we could buy the thing we needed to buy, or however that works out. So it's even my own human understanding of this whole process, I go through tons of really deep and profound questioning of my own existence and my own path, and why am I meeting these spirits, or why is this happening right now? But I'm always touched by the capacity that humans and other beings have to still want the desire to change, the desire to heal, the desire to learn about love and touch love and return to love is still present. Even
Because it's the essence.
it's the essence is still
Yeah.
there, even after centuries of suffering. The people are coming out of this saying, I still want to heal. I still want to live. I still want to know what love is. And to me, that just speaks volumes to the human spirit and what we can do with the time that we have.
I got two insights from what you were saying. One about the languages, when you say I have to learn this language and this language, and I'm actually taking a computer science course, and it's all about languages, that somebody developed this language and this language, and this language can do this and this language can do that, and sometimes they can work together, but most of the times they're separate languages. And it's all about the language translating into different things, the ones and the zeros. because on the bottom of everything on computer science, it's about ones and zeros information, and how these ones and zeros can be translating into this diversity of manifestation.
Mhm.
And when I study, I can't help, of course, to actually always be translating this information as a computer science to the esoteric side of it, because I think it's a parallel. We're learning how to program ourselves through actually mirroring into a machine.
Mm.
And then you said something about the how can we help to activate people willing to wake up. And it came to me the free will, because it's all about free will, right? We cannot ourselves force anybody to wake up. We can only help if somebody wants to. So it is the free will law, universal law. So
Yeah.
people need to want to, right?
Yes. Yeah. And that's another big piece, is that sovereignty, spiritual sovereignty, to be able to choose. And even if we do find teachers, or, meet and seek advice from others, to be able to also listen, but decide for ourselves if it resonates and if that's our truth, and if we're choosing to follow that, or use it as a method to access our own way of getting there, our own way of getting to that coordinate. Um, yeah,
I,
sovereignty, willpower. Mhm.
I feel that there is a lot of people. I don't know if the word is moaning, like feeling sad about other people of their close relationships that are not seeing things the same way they are starting to see. And so there's a lot of sadness about that. And what is your approach about that? Because I feel that there is a big mass of people they're awakening, but also sad because the ones they love are not seeing things the same way. They're not awakening. They don't want
Yeah, there's a grief. There's a lot of grief.
grief.
Yeah, and mourning, like you said, and that's the death of things, the death of something, and that is also the death of our relationships. It's not going to be an easy time. I think that is it's going to escalate. Where I think we're going to see more of that. I think we're also going to see more people choosing to not be here anymore either. That it's already starting to move that way. People they're done. They don't see purpose here. Um, and so that can be challenging for a family too, an increase of suicide, an increase of choosing death. And either that, or just turning off completely and being a zombie, which is another form of death, right? Kicking
Hmm.
back into the system and doubling down and working harder and making more money is another type of death. It's another type. Um, when I work with people who are experiencing what you just spoke about, one partner is waking up and the other one is refusing. The other one thinks that that person is totally illogical and that's not going to work. So we're seeing a what is success? This is the question. What is success and what is wealth? What really is wealth and what is abundance and what is prosperity? And I think what we're seeing in that type of relationship is really that question. Facing those questions. What is important? Is it our family? What are the resources? What are the resources that each member of the family is bringing to better that environment, to help that relationship, instead of arguing over right and wrong? And that's, we have to really watch the polarity that is a polarizing in each other, polarizing within, polarizing in our relationships, is another form of death, is a form of leading us away from the whole. And so my guidance for that is try not to polarize. Try not to polarize. Listen to what the person is saying and feeling and going through, wherever they are on the spectrum, because we're all still in a circle. You can't rip the circle in half. We can't stop being humans. And if you believe this, you're human. If you believe that, you're not a human. Even though we do have lots of different genetic codes, but I tell them, I said, just listen and just accept each other. Just accept. Just accept. This is their reality, and that's their reality, and that's perfectly fine, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. And a lot of the times one partner will say, there's something wrong with you. And the other person will mirror back and say, oh, well, there's something wrong with you. And then so therefore there's something wrong, which gives us a reason to fight. We don't want to be fighting. You said this earlier. We don't have time. We don't have time or energy to be engaged in the fighting. The fighting is a form of distraction that takes us away from what's actually happening on the planet, which is this stealing of the resources and of the land and the breaking down of the systems. If you're too busy fighting your family and fighting your friends about what to believe and what's right and what's wrong, you're going to be easier to control. You're going to be distracted from what's really important. And so again,
Exactly.
that question, what is success? What is your measure of success? Is it having stuff? Is it having money? Is it having a nice car? Is it having a cool dog? Is it having family? Is it having good food? Is it having clean air? Is it having fresh water? What is your idea of success? And even in my own lifetime, I've had to challenge what I was taught to be successful. And my ancestors had to go through a lot to find a place of privilege to get me to be where I am now with all the privileges that I grew up with, for me to be like, thank you for all of that. However, we need to go back to the earth. We need to like take this and like return back into the earth and turn 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 back into the earth, instead of fight about you should drink this and not that. There's just such a bigger picture happening. So that's my advice. Just listen, accept that person for who they are, and you might have different ideas of what abundance and success means. And it's okay to move apart. It doesn't have to be a painful experience. It can just be like friendship. I acknowledge you're different. We're different. And now we stand as ourselves. It was also another opportunity to learn more about who you are and what you stand for and how you're going to stand for it. So even though it's a challenge, it can also be seen as a gift. We have an opportunity to decide if we're going to move apart or stay in the same garden. And that's also going to get people to start examining relationships, secure attachment and insecure attachment relationships. Like, am I dependent on this person? How dependent are we upon the health and happiness of somebody else? And it can feel very threatening if all of a sudden a partner is like, I don't want to have anything to do with it, yet that other partner's been relying on them for 10 years. Now all of a sudden they have to find who they are. They have to discover what their truth is. And so many of us are going.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that yesterday because I was for several years in an abusive relationship, and I was thinking how did I stay for so long, and why, and it came that it's escape, right? It's like a drug. You're addicted to that, so that you actually don't have time to look at who you are and what you really are here to do. So it is interesting that it's a learning process, but at the same time, almost I feel like I wasted all this time in this lockdown of this suffering, depending, unbalanced relationship. And then when you actually are courageous enough to step out, that's when you actually are courageous enough to look at yourself and stand for yourself, right? And it's freedom. That's freedom.
It's freedom. And we're being asked to look at the relationship we have with the earth, and also a relationship we have with politics, and the relationship we have
Same thing,
with ourselves.
yes.
It's all relationships. It's still a relationship.
All abusive relationships that we've been programmed to need. I think the programming is you need the drama, you need the suffering.
Yeah. And so to have the courage to step out of that too and find your own freedom and your own empowerment in those old structures of forced control and like an over culture of trauma. It's going to take a lot of courage and a lot of the sovereignty teachings and a lot of the resilience of the human spirit to kind of pierce through that illusion and those forms of control. But we're not alone, and the universe is supporting us in that too, which, if you don't mind, we can talk about that blue storm, the electric storm energy. If you want to talk about that for a minute, because I have some information too that is helpful for people who are going through that dissonance and are in a place where they are ready to find their own truth and find their own clear line to their soul light that doesn't involve all of the drama and distraction. And I have, if we could do a little meditation with that on the show. I don't know if that's possible, but
I can give a summary of what on the Mayan aspect of time calendar, what we're going through, because with the year, as you know, the Mayan year starts on July 26th of every year, and every year is guided by one of the 20 archetypes and a frequency number. So this year, since last July 26th, we've been going through the blue storm, number 2. And number 2 is the challenge. It's the duality. It's when the one turns into 2 and becomes a duality, and it's a challenge to actually, from the 2 points, create everything else, expand and create everything else. So we're going through the whole year until next July this challenge of understanding what the storm is. The storm archetype, it's self-generating energy. It's not depending from the energy generated by a third party. Or like in terms of relationships between humans, with the dramas we actually fight for energy. In reality, we're stealing energy from others, and we're creating this vicious circle of stealing from others instead of connecting to our own energy. And that's what the storm represents on the Mayan archetype. It's this connection with your inner self, generation of your own energy. You become a generator of energy. So you storm out.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you
And,
for sharing
and
that.
and then besides the year, this actually ends tomorrow, like the 13 days of, because there are sequences of 13 days starting and beginning. And so we started the wave of the storm on that one. That, what day was that? Then we storm, well, 12 days ago we started the storm 13 days sequence, meaning we're attracting during those 13 days until tomorrow all the opportunities to learn about the storm, to learn about how to self generate our own energy, with the challenge of enlightening ourselves. This, yeah, the challenge of enlightening. And that ends tomorrow with the transcending of this whole thing by learning about the monkey. And the monkey, it's playful and plays with illusion and magic and makes things happen in front of your eyes and you don't even know how, and it has fun with it. So this whole storm sequence of 13 days ends on the transcending everything, learning everything, and becoming the monkey and playing with this energy in a magical way and having fun with it, not taking it so serious.
Whew, well, so tomorrow we can play.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And today it's the 12th day of the sequence, which is the day when the spirit guides come and help with the process, and they're coming and helping with the connection of the heart and the unconditional love of this process.
Beautiful.
So now you can add to the storm.
To the storm. And
Yeah.
so for those of you who are tuning in and listening, we spoke earlier in the show about emotional intelligence and how emotional intelligence is going to be a really important tool to cultivate as you awaken and as you empower your own spirituality to be, yeah, emotionally intelligent as we move through this time. And so there are some beings that have showed themselves to me, well, many, many years ago, and they continue to teach and show up and teach me new things. And the beings that are coming through for supporting the emotional intelligence aspect, and there's several different forms, but the one that's coming up the most right now as we're talking is the lightning beings.
The lightning
The
being.
lightning people. I don't know what else to call them. They're the lightning people. And as you know, we think about this blue storm that's happening, like the electric storm, and we also look at the electromagnetic fields that are being manipulated. So we've got all these simulated electromagnetic fields, and then underneath that, before we created those, there's just the Earth's natural electromagnetic field, your body's natural electromagnetic field. Our solar system has an electromagnetic field, and these are all what I call natural electromagnetic fields. I feel like when I say simulated electromagnetic field, I mean this here, the Wi-Fi and the like human machine generated electromagnetic fields. What's happening is with the 5G and all of the satellites that have gone up in the last 2 years, since the 80s, it's created a whole bunch of space junk or debris, electromagnetic debris in the energy field of the planet. And so the actual electromagnetic field of the planet is also struggling and having a hard time staying on axis, which also, and it's shifting, the axis is always moving around anyways. But it's starting to really influence, as we're seeing with the bees and the whales and all the other animals who follow electromagnetic frequencies are starting to get mixed up and confused. And this has been happening for decades, and we still are increasing the amount of electromagnetic stimulation. Instead of learning right away, we should probably stop and let the earth sing its song. So the lightning beings they're naturally, when we have a storm, when the lightning comes, it polarizes the air, changes the air, and brings in the negative ions into the air. And same, which also alleviates anxiety and depression. Negative ions after a big storm, a big cleansing, everything is like bright and healthy and alive and awakened and awakened and awakened. So this lightning has the ability to awaken us. And like Miriam was saying, that the storm brings with it this, we're learning about how to relate, we're learning about how to ascend and transform any energy that's not serving our ascension, any energy that's not serving our capacity to hold a more loving space for the evolution, natural evolution of the planet and all that lives on the planet. And also, you know, macrocosm, the galaxy and beyond. So the hypothalamus is a part of our brain that helps regulate our hormones, and it's also really in tune and alignment with the moon. And the moon, as we know, is like one of our emotional indicators. It has all the 13 moons in a year. It really is a very natural electromagnetic field that helps us repolarize. Like every day, that moon, the influence of the moon is really helping our natural body rhythms and cycles. So there's the moon and the spirit of the moon, but then these storms and the beings of the storm. So thunder beings, lightning beings, otherworldly beings. But also the earth herself or itself has the capacity to birth lightning, to birth the storm people. Okay, so we have that. We have these like earth storm people, and we also have these cosmic storm people. You've heard of the cosmic storms, right? So there's also lightning that can come in through the cosmos, and there's lightning that can come in from the earth. And we're talking about generating our own electromagnetic field. We're talking about generating our own capacity and our own power. And in order to do that in a human body, we have to be grounded. And you think about a building, when you're putting electricity into the building, you need to ground it. It has to have somewhere to go. And we have, usually it's a copper wire that goes into the earth and grounds the electricity into the earth so that it doesn't fritz and blow stuff up. And think about that in our relationship to ourselves and our relating to anybody else. If we're not grounded and we're having this storm happen, we're going to explode. We're gonna burn out. We're gonna burn each other. There's gonna be sparks. There's gonna be fires, right? The circuit isn't complete. The circuit is fritzing. It's fritzing out, right? Glitching and doing funny things. So if you're comfortable, you can just watch, or you can also participate. So I'm going to invite you to participate in this mini journey with the moon and with the lightning. And we're also going to bring in beings of copper, and a lot of them come from the sun, but also from the earth. And so just get comfortable in your body, finding your breath. You are movers, so feel free to move your body as this is happening. And some of you just like to stay still, that's fine too. Finding your breath, breathe right in, bringing your breath in through your face and into your brain, and bringing that breath right into the brain, breathing in. And then exhaling out. And the next breath, breathing in, down the neck, into the heart space, and then exhaling out. Breathing in again, this time bringing it in all the way down your spine into the pelvis, breathing in. And then exhaling out. Before we call the energy of lightning into our bodies, so we're going to reset our natural electromagnetic field. We have to clear the lines to do this, and lightning is very good at clearing the lines. So just imagine with your breath that you're stretching straight out to the top of your head, all the way into the center of the universe, wherever that is for you, making this cosmic cord. You have to go through all the space debris to get there, just go straight through it. Staying anchored in the universe, travel back down your cosmic cord and through the top of your head. And then nice big inhale, exhaling, going down the rest of your spine to the bottom of your spine. And then imagine at the bottom of your spine creating a grounding cord or a root of some kind, feeling your spine extend into the earth. And keep extending the spine so it drops deeper and deeper into the earth, all the way into the core of the earth. The next breath, inviting the energy of the sun to come and sit in front of you, or even be in your cosmic core. So just invite the sun in for a minute. Here you can link into the people of the sun, the energy and the spirit of the sun, and ask for copper, the color of copper and the mineral of copper to come from the sun. Liquid copper sunlight flowing down your cosmic cord into the top of your body. You want this copper to begin to move through the mind, settling and grounding out and collecting any excess electricity that's been in your mind, your energy field, all your tissues. Letting the liquid copper flow down your spine. Bring that copper right into the tailbone and slowly begin to let it stretch down into your grounding cord. Feeling that liquid copper pour into your grounding. And then from your feet or your pelvis all around you, access the copper in the land. And then feel the energy of the copper of the earth begin to mix and blend with the copper of the cosmos in your grounding cord. And so you become a receptacle, a receiving end, preparing for this lightning, preparing for the natural lightning to come to you, to support you. And if it feels good for you to do so, you can also send this liquid copper, this copper blend, earth and cosmic copper, through your ancestral lines. The ancestors behind you, maybe some ancestors need some healing and some grounding. Beautiful. And if you're holding space for children or grandchildren, you can send this copper forward also into the descendants. Focusing mainly on your own spine, just allowing that grounding to move through all the lineage as far as it needs to go. We thank the energy of the sun, gently lift it out of your cosmic cord back to where it goes in the universe. And we're going to call in the energy of the moon. We're just passing through a new moon and a new moon right now, bringing in that potential for new life, for new growth, for new vision, spiritual vision, how to bring that forward into our being. And so now bring the moon into your cosmic cord and let that energy of the new moon float down into your brain. And let that new moon kind of move to the back of the brain, the reptilian brain, the primal brain. This is the area where we have a lot of dissonance. We have a lot of reaction, a lot of volatile and emotional energy really buzzing around back here. So we're inviting the moon in to also support our emotional intelligence. As you feel the moon begin to radiate new energy or deep vision, we begin to prepare also the mind, also our brain for the lightning, for the storm. for our own cleansing, for our own clearing of the lines. In order to access our ancient wisdoms, we have to clear the lines in all directions. The lines must be cleared. When you're ready, you can call the storm from all around. You can use your arms and imagine reaching out left, right, front, back in a circle in a ring all around you, the edge of the universe. A great storm. Watching the clouds build, maybe you can hear the thunder. It's growing all around you. Breathing with the moon, breathing with the copper, breathing with the ancestors, breathing with the descendants, breathing with the earth, being a part of and preparing to receive the energy of this storm, this awakening, this clearing of the lines, increase of capacity, how to self-generate, feeling it grow, it's growing, it's getting bigger. The energy is rising, and up to you. It's up to you how big your storm is going to be. Bring it up, bring it up, bring those clouds up. See the lightning begin to move through the clouds. You can feel the presence of the otherworldly beings, spirits of the lightning, the ancient ones, the old ones, the ones our ancestors used to know, communicate with, write songs about this lightning, these people. And bring that storm into that cosmic cord, and it's up to you. Again, this is your cosmic cord. You get to choose. Start bringing that lightning down, and you can start just clearing the lines. It has to pass through, this lightning has to get through all of those satellites, has to get through all of that space junk. So as you bring that cosmic storm in, this is your generator. This is, you can generate this storm. You can generate this much electromagnetic energy. You can invite change and growth. You can change depression and anxiety through generations doing this work. Bringing that lightning in, letting it go through and clear away all the debris between the Earth's atmosphere and your body. Claiming your natural link to electricity, cosmic storm. Bringing that lightning in through the head. Clear the lines. Clear the lines. Back of the head, base of the skull, left and right side. You can send lightning through the left and right side of the base of the skull, stretching out to the ancestors and the minds of the ancestors, helping clear their minds, clear it out. Bring that lightning down the spine, clearing the lines, clearing the lines. Really good also to clear out any electromagnetic frequencies, simulated frequencies that are not natural. Let this cosmic lightning and the storm that we're in our last day of gift that these ancestors and spirits bring us, clearing. Feel free to bring in the rain also. With our moon here, we have all that emotional access to the waters, the cleansing, and to the purification that the storm can bring us. You get that lightning moving with the water, it generates even more energy. Also, rainbow light. We ask this rainbow light, this water infused with lightning, to send rings and patterns of rainbows through our mind, through our brain, through our hypothalamus, through our endocrine system, clearing out emotional dissonance that no longer serves us. If you need more grounding, pour in more copper, breathe in more copper, increase your capacity. The deeper you are in the earth, the more lightning you can channel. Let the storm surround you. Let it clear all that is in your way. all that is an illusion, all that is simulated, all that no longer serves. Imagine your whole energy field becoming this storm, also cleansing and clearing your energy field. Feel the thunder. Feel it vibrate through your body, bringing that lightning in through the heart and down through the spine, down into the earth, clearing the lines in the earth, our ancestral memories in the earth, clearing the lines, supporting the healing of the ancestors and the land that you sit on. Copper, lightning, rainbows, moon, sun, earth. As you breathe, feel the electromagnetic field begin to change around you, an increase of negative ions in your breath and in the air around you. Embrace your storm. Embrace your power to change and clear. Embrace the gift of generating your own energy, your own essence, your own storm. Find within your storm a still point, the center of the storm. And be here now. Allow the storm to clear what it needs to as you sit in the center, the rainbow moon, water, harmonizing and recalibrating your emotional intelligence. Feeling the rest of the storm pour through your core channel, your central core, and out in all the directions that you sent the copper. Feeling the storm begin to subside, move through your body, and be released. Echoes of thunder as it ripples through your energy field and back out to the edge of the universe. Thanking the power of the storm. Thank you. Bring in a gentle rain, cleansing in all around you, that gentle rain. Feel it in your air that you breathe, on your skin. New life, new beginnings. Feel the earth around your body where the storm has moved through, energized, clear, connected. Reclaim your electromagnetic field as yours, your relationship to the electromagnetic frequencies all around you in its natural state. Let all that is simulated fall away. And in this way, we remember our power. And from the center of our storm, we learn how to use it. For healing, for change, for transformation, and for transcendence. And so it is. In your own way, thanking the moon, releasing the moon, copper, the sun, spirits of the storm. Thank you to the ancient ones who taught our ancestors, have carried our soul seed through so many generations that we can be here now to have this experience. can still hear the thunder.
That was amazing. No words. And Quetzalcoatl was here. He's here, represented here too.
Beautiful. Thanks for sharing that with me, and thank you for listening. I do encourage all of you to embrace your own storm and to become aware of the gift of your own presence and the electromagnetic field that you generate in yourself. Your heart is our biggest organ. The actual organ generates 6 times more electromagnetic energy than our brain, which for those of you who are more scientific, we support you in knowing that the heart is our super brain, it's our super consciousness. And so when we recalibrate our electromagnetic field, we're actually giving our heart permission to be whole and to be balanced and to be operating, even with its polarization, the positive and negative ions, they work together. Our heart is in relationship with itself. And so we come
It's
to
the polarization is information, but the processor is the heart. And information without a processor is just lost beats.
yeah, exactly. Overwhelming. And so just be mindful too, because with all of the increase, the 5G network and the Starlink and all of the other new devices that are coming out, it's like getting quite thick, like a butter in a way, and like a sticky mayonnaise that's really covering the natural electromagnetic frequencies. And so be really mindful as you go throughout your day to clear those lines, and then come back into harmony with the electromagnetic field of the earth. And you can do that with this meditation, just breathing, aligning sun, moon, earth. All of these things can help bring you back into a natural electromagnetic field, which is becoming increasingly more difficult. So getting outside, getting on the land, hugging the trees. If you're lucky enough to have a storm move through your area with the spring, those who are in the northern hemisphere, spring coming through, or if you're in a place where there's lots of storms, lucky you, harness that energy, bring it in and help transform it and clear the lines, open the channels.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Gratitude for you being here sharing, and to all the beings that were here with us too, because they were, it was like, it was, yeah, high presence is here. Yeah. And this because there's no linear time, this is recorded, and anytime we tune in here, this is created, this space is created here.
Yeah.
All right, so any last words you want to say?
No, I'm just excited for rain now. I want to get outside calling the storms in. I know it would be dangerous for fire, but there's also a reason for fire. Sky fire often is what I call the lightning sky fire. When sky fire hits the mountain, then the earth fire begins. And I've seen it before, and I think we've seen it here in this valley where we are too, where the fire people walk across the mountains and they set alight the things that need to burn so that we can remember what's important. And in your relationships that are experiencing dissonance, burn it, burn the stuff that is in the way, burn the distractions, burn the illusions, bring the lightning down, light it on fire, burn it, and then remember what's really important and meet each other there. Meet each other in that common ground of what's truly important, because it's not your money.
And during the meditation, because we were aligning with gold, and then I thought about silver and copper being middle path, the path of the heart. We have gold and silver, kind of like the polarities, and it was a lot of course, we were invoking copper, but it was this DNA of copper.
Yes, and we do have ancestors, copper ancestors, and we have lightning ancestors, and we they are our relatives. And we forget that, and we think that copper is just a mineral that we can explode the mountain and pull it out of the mountain, but it's alive, it's a living thing. And quite often the copper deposits in our mountains is the same locations where the star people landed and taught the people on how to be on the earth. And so when I think about that, and I think about how the pennies were taken and how copper is becoming more and more expensive, and then remove copper from the people and then increase the frequency to cause more electromagnetic storms, simulated ones, and without our copper in our environment or in our sacred mountains anymore, it's becoming very challenging for us to keep our sacred ways of grounding and being in the mountains. And so we think too, a prayer for the mountains might be helpful. Copper balls.
But it's funny because I went to, I was a couple of years ago, the last stones and rocks fair we had here, and I was just compelled to buy it because those are expensive. I was like, I need to have that. I don't know why, but you just gotta follow the call, answer the call, and I got it. Now I understand because it's needed right now.
Yeah, and copper is
Yeah.
going to help for those of you who are having heart issues, because there's a lot of heart and sleep issues that are on the rise right now, also due to stimulated electromagnetic fields. Copper, wearing copper, having copper on your body, copper water bottle so that you're constantly drinking that copper. There's also homeopathic remedies that have traces of copper in them, and a lot of them are heart healing homeopathic medicines and remedies. So copper is really important mineral that if you don't have some, get some. It also was really, like back in the old times, copper was a powerful trade mineral to trade because it is so sacred, and it does carry the vibration of the beings that came from the sun and taught the people. And you look at ancient masks or old masks and carvings, a lot of times they have copper in the eyes. The
That's
copper,
right. Yes, yes, and the Mayan culture too. Lots of copper there. Yeah.
the Mayan people were channeling the lightning people.
Holy smokes, yeah.
You're going to need
Holy, holy smokes. Literally.
holy smokes, good one. I get it.
All right. So with this, we got to play tomorrow because it's the transcending day. The monkey is gonna be playful, preparing for the next wave, which is gonna be the yellow human about freedom. And I'll make another video to talk about the wave we're coming through because it's an interesting wave. All of them are interesting, but it's like a sequence. We generate our storm and now we become free.
Yes,
All
please.
right. Thank you so much. And to all of you who are watching and tuning in, please share this message to whomever you think this is going to resonate with. And you can always contact Mari Abraham through the contact on below link there. Her contact is below somewhere there. I pointed. And click like, share, and all this blah 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 from the YouTube thing. All right, see you next time. Thank
Bye,
you, Mari.
Miriam. Thank you. Goodbye, everybody. All the best in these times.
I'm gonna okay.